youth branch and women's branch, esteemed mayors and esteemed heads of city councils, dear friends, I would like to greet you all with my deepest regards. Welcome to this meeting. And I hope that this meeting, this get-together, is auspicious for our country as well as our party. At the very beginning of my remarks, allow me to mention and commemorate our great leader, the late Şevket Kazan. I'd like to offer my condolences to his family and wish them patience upon his departure. Now, he was one of the leading figures of a group of politicians that changed the course of history in Turkey. He was committed to our cause, and he was a great statesman, and he served our nation a great deal. His passing away is a big loss for our country. May God protect him forever, and may his place be paradise in hereafter. Now, dear friends, the 7th Congress of AK Party will take place, and last weekend we had some district congresses, and there will be some more district congresses in the run-up to the 7th Congress as well. But we also had to postpone some of the congresses because of the martyrs. But other than that, everything seems to be on track. And smaller scale congresses were actually completed. Up until now, 181 district congresses have been completed. In some of our districts, the current heads of the organization will continue their posts. In others, they will hand over the torch to new incumbents. AK Party is a party of the nation. It belongs to the nation, and we need to revamp ourselves. We need to expound our efforts on this path. Where Turkey is today was achieved thanks to AK Party, and despite all the difficulties, we have prevailed, and we have proven that we are the party of this country's future as well. As People's Alliance, we have changed the way of administration in this country, and this new model is taking root day by day. And those who oppose us are detractors. Their attributes, their attitudes actually reveals that Turkey needs the services of AK Party for long years to come. Now, we had a group meeting at the parliament, and we covered certain items on the agenda. We talked about the Syrian crisis. We had the opportunity to share the latest developments vis-à-vis the Syrian crisis with the members of our nation. And here I'd like to touch upon another aspect of this issue. Certain people harbor animosity towards myself, towards AK Party, and at every opportunity they side with Turkey's detractors. And those people want us to be undermined at the expense of Turkey being undermined. Even at critical times, they are siding with the enemy. They are actually siding and joining forces with the enemy, and chief amongst these people, these quarters, is the Republican People's Party, and they have ceased participating at the Turkish national anthem at meetings, and they have revealed what they will do in the upcoming period. The person who is chairing the CHP and his aides have actually raised the bar in terms of defamation, and they're trying to create new cliques, new camps in Turkey, trying to sow seeds of discord in Turkey. They're trying to provoke people, and as such, they are playing a very dangerous game indeed. Unfortunately, the will of the nation, well, unfortunately, they are manipulating the parliament in their dirty games. Even at a place like the parliament, which is the embodiment of the will of the people. And we have been trying to frustrate their efforts by trying to reveal their true colors. They have this animosity towards our party and towards myself, and they watch certain television channels, they read certain newspapers, and some people think that what the CHP proposes or proclaims to be true is actually factual, and they focus on a single frame, on a single occurrence, and they try and mobilize one another, and we are saddened by these efforts, and we also take pity on them. For the last 17 years, they have waited for AK Parti and for myself to be to fail, but sadly they have left the years of middle age and they are now elderly. These dreams have yet to come true. I wish they had dedicated this time to something more auspicious. Maybe then they would have found a place of pride in the hearts of people in Turkey. But instead of winning over people's hearts, they have compounded their hatred, and they have been bogged down in this quagmire of hate that they themselves have created. In Turkey, our nation at large have benefited from services from education to healthcare, and our people are in a position to appreciate the progress Turkey has made, especially when you compare today with the Turkey of the past. Those generations who can do that can really appreciate the progress Turkey has made. Our youngsters would also do well to study the difference between Turkey of the past and Turkey of today, and I believe that they are currently doing that. And I always make comparisons between Turkey of 2002 and Turkey of today. That's why I draw these comparisons, because we operationalized, we implemented as a team the most groundbreaking steps in the history of the Republic of Turkey. But yes, we have achieved a great deal thus far, but what is as equally important is to actually also talk about the future, the sorts of promises that we make to our youngsters, to our nation at large. In our country, we still dream big, and we still draw up projects, and we have the capability, we have the will, and we're the only political party to do that, to put these dreams into practice. As long as we have this vision, God willing, we will continue on this path, and I believe that we will never be voted out of office. Our nation will never be convinced by those who try to orchestrate schemes behind the scenes. I think people have had enough. Just like a trapeze walker, just like a comedian on the stage, people are watching this theater, but once the theater is over, everything will be left there. But in order to serve the nation, the road that you need to walk on is long. It is an arduous process. It requires determination and patience. As you would notice, certain new formations that are purported to be new only confirm the need for AK Parti, and they do not really serve any other purpose. Those that do not have a cause, that do not have faith, that do not love their country, will always fail in the end. They will never triumph in the end. None of these people are of concern to us, because in front of us we have our 2023 goals, we have 2053 and 2071 visions that are in front of us. These are yet to be surpassed, and we are dedicated to this goal. And I believe that our Congress will be an important window of opportunity for us to talk about these new goals. In the upcoming period, with new people joining our ranks, we will continue to serve our nation. But of course, my deputy chairperson responsible for organization, Mr. Erkan, there's one thing that I'd like to underscore here quite unequivocally, and I'd like to shout out to all the heads of women's branches and youth branches all across Turkey. Please let us make sure that, like I said, let us make sure that we focus on the brightest of these cities, of these districts, and find key opinion leaders in these jurisdictions. With the same delegations, with the same teams, we will not be able to make progress, and with a dynamic structure, we need to continue on this path, and that is an obligation for us. And of course, for this to happen, we need to try and find new ways, new means in our districts, in our cities. What are we going to do? We're going to find these Omars, so to speak. We're going to find these Khatijas, so to speak. We're going to find these Aishas, so to speak. Misaddin Umerlis will be found as well. And we are going to enlarge our ranks, and we are going to face our delegates having completed this work. Otherwise, we will not be able to make progress. We cannot make progress with the same teams, with the same people, with the same ranks. We will have to change things, change how things are done. And our people, our people know that AK Party is not a party of the Turkey of the past. We revitalize, reinvigorate our cells, our DNA continuously, and our outlook is committed to the future. Of course, it doesn't mean that the current ranks will be demoted entirely or relegated entirely. Those who have the energy, those who can work, will continue to work. Of course, we're going to continue with some of our colleagues, dear brothers and sisters. From security to economy, Turkey has very important items on its agenda, and there are certain things that we never should neglect. For instance, preparedness for natural disasters. On the 24th of January, 41 citizens lost their lives because of the earthquake in Elazığ and Malatya, and then on the 23rd of February, another earthquake hit the city of Van, and in the Başkale district of Van, this earthquake was quite detrimental. 10 citizens lost their lives, 68 citizens were wounded because of this earthquake. And also every day, be they large or small, many earthquakes, many tremors are taking place, and every piece of news about earthquakes in Turkey reveal once again the threat Turkey is faced with regarding earthquakes. That's why Turkey needs to act responsibly. We know that our building stock is quite healthy. Many of the buildings that are older than 20 years are not are not strong enough against earthquakes. That's why urban transformation is so important. In Istanbul, where there's a concentration of population, but in other cities as well, we need to radically revamp our building stock, and we need to do whatever is necessary. It is not the time to engage in small calculations. We should not shy away from strengthening buildings, because these buildings that are not strong enough will be demolished by a future earthquake, and we should definitely take these precautions. When that earthquake hits, these buildings will be demolished, plus there will be loss of lives as well. So when we have the time, we should spend enough resources to strengthen our buildings. In the last century, 57 major earthquakes took place in Turkey. We lost 80,000 citizens in Turkey, so we cannot be complacent about this in Turkey at all. In urban transformation, the state is only one of the parties. Our ministries and other authorities are engaged in planning efforts, and they have actually completed their efforts. And from municipalities to citizens, all parties involved should assume responsibility and undertake this burden. Otherwise, we will not be able to make progress. We should always focus on a principle of horizontal architecture, and all parties must make sacrifices for that to happen. Let's say a building of 3 stories is to be demolished, and if you're going to build a building of 4 stories only, then the municipality and proprietors must assume responsibility. For instance, a 40-year-old 100 square meter flat. I'll give my flat, and in exchange I want a 150 square meter flat, brand new flat. If you have that, if you impose that, then that will not work out. The state cannot leave everything else aside and dedicate all its resources to building new houses. Even if we do that, it will take long years to accomplish that. We need to share the burden of urban transformation. If we do that in a short while, I think we will have fixed some of our basic problems. Otherwise, for long years, we will continue to discuss this matter, but we will not be able to make a substantial progress. Inshallah, in the upcoming period, in line with our municipalities, in coordination with our municipalities and our ministers, we will solve this problem, which is a substantial problem on our agenda. Dear friends, the presidential election, parliamentary elections will take place in 2023, municipal elections will take place in 2024, and that goes to show that we have quite a long time, 2 or 3 years before elections take place, for us to fulfill our promises, the promises that we have made to our people. Time flies by so fast, and Turkey is at the heart of all sorts of regional and global developments. We are beset by a string of crises on a global scale, and this makes our agenda quite hectic, and within all this turmoil, the one thing that we really need to draw attention to is to always focus on our targets and never lose sight of our horizon. On the one side, we are trying to protect our borders, and we are executing our cross-borders operations. On the other hand, we are trying to bring all sorts of services to our districts, sub-districts, and cities. We never neglect, and never will neglect the provision of these services. On an international scale, we will continue our political and diplomatic struggle, and in order to solve the economic problems of our citizens, we will take decisive measures, and every ministry, every public authority, every municipality will do whatever they are supposed to do within their remit, and one by one they are going to fulfill the promises that we have made to our public. No issue will outshadow another, no priority will push back another important item on the agenda. On all sorts of areas, we need to take the necessary steps in line with our program in a decisive manner. Every struggle that we are engaged in is enriched by the support of our nation. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank them for their support. And on the one hand, there are certain responsibilities put on our shoulders about our civilization, and on the other hand, we will fulfill the promises that we have made to our nation. What makes AK Party different than others is this: these two missions that we are executing in a concurrent fashion. Regardless of what the conditions are inside Turkey and outside Turkey, regardless of the traps that are set in front of us, despite all the machinations that are thrown in our way, we're never going to lose sight of this perspective. We will never ever give up on serving our nation. We will never ever dedicate our energy to things other than serving our nation. We will never give this satisfaction to our naysayers, to our detractors, but of course we're always going to answer their accusations, their defamation, but we are never going to reduce politics to this, to this sort of bickering. Our heads of districts, sub-districts, our mayors, and those who are committed to our cause should take ownership of these principles and should put them into practice in their daily lives. Integrity, dear friends, is what we do best. Honesty. Whereas bickering and defamation is what CHP does best. This Yalova incident, what happened? Justice has been served. Mehmet Bey, can we have you on the stage, please? Now it's all about making sure that we keep a close eye on this, and as we do that, when we do that, you see that these corruptions will be revealed, and nothing will ever be left in the dark. Just like in Yalova, everything's been revealed. It's all out there. In the elections that were held, People's Alliance, yes, we won. Our candidate is now the mayor of Yalova.
Sayın Cumhurbaşkanım, zaten hallerinizin de haberi olduğu gibi
Mr. President, Republican People's Party in Yalova won the previous elections in a dubious fashion, but now their corruption has been revealed in such a grand scale that it cannot be concealed. A corruption file that is worth 14-15 million. New pieces of evidence reveal that the CHP administration was engaged in severe corruption, and they lined the pockets of their cronies by taking money from the state. And we held several meetings, and head of our city organization was there as well. We joined our forces, and thankfully we were able to achieve unity amongst our ranks, and we reached an alliance. And within People's Alliance, Nationalist Movement Party also, they supported us in an unconditional capacity, and one of our colleagues there received 17 votes as opposed to 13 of the other party, and we won the elections that were held in Yalova.
Mulim Bey, il başkanımız da buraya. Kadın kolları başkanımız orada efendim, müsaade ederseniz.
Our MPs, head of our women's branch, are also cordially invited to the stage.
Yeni başkanımız Mustafa Tutuk Bey efendim.
Head of our city organization, Mustafa Tutuk.
Mustafa Tutuk efendim. Yok yani soyadına bakıp da aldanmayın ha. Mustafa Tutuk değil yani. Çok çalışacak.
İkinci üniversite bitiriyor yani.
Şimdi bu arada mesela ikinci üniversiteyi de bitiriyor.
I think he
Tutuk değil.
is going to be very hardworking. May God help you, and
Hizmet görmeyen Yalova'ya inşallah
hopefully you will bring
AK Parti
services to Yalova,
sokak
services the like of which the city has not known
hep beraber
under the
vereceğiz.
mayoral
Yalova gibi
rule of
şirin
CHP.
bir ilimizi
Yalova is
inşallah
such a cute
ilçeleriyle,
city, and with its
beldeleriyle
districts and
öyle mi?
sub-districts,
Çok
right,
daha farklı
we
bir
will
yere
help it prosper
taşıyacağız.
even further in the future.
Tamam. Tebrik ediyoruz.
Congratulations.